Today I will show you a tutorial in my 3D Hypercasual game, CrowdStrike. This tutorial it show you a zone trigger. When you enter it, it will spawn enemy and you will have a pop-up text that tell you like a quest style. So I will show you. So if I keep moving forward, you will see this pop up like a quest style. It will tell me if that I entered the zone and I need to defeat the 20 giants with a small motivation code. So I am not a pussy, so I accept it. When you accept it, magical circle effect, it will spawn and enemy will start spawning. I didn't implement the attack mechanism or the enemy AI follow, it will just spawn an idle giant. So there is it, the spawn, and the player cannot move and run outside the zone until he defeats the 20 giants. So let's start by showing you the scene and all the components. I will maximize the game scene. Like you see, there is the effect. It's just an empty object that holds three important components. The first component is the particle system, that is the cause of the circle effect that rotates, and it shows the boundary of the zone. The collide circle arena, it's the trigger zone that tells us that the player entered the zone, and it acts like a trigger. It contains the sphere collider with the trigger checked, and it holds the script that take care of all the mechanism. I name it zone spawner. Third, like you see, it's a mesh collider. If I click it, you will see it. I don't know why it's not visible. I think there is it. And a lot will ask why I made this half sphere object. If I turn on the mesh renderer, you will see there is it. I will tell you why. First of all, let's turn it off and let's go to the circle. Like you see, its trigger is on. So if I press play, I'll turn off the script, so I will show you. And I enter the zone. I don't need to. I will turn it off. Like you see, the player is in the zone. There is it. The player is in the zone. There is it. It's inside the zone. So if I change the trigger to false with script, something weird will happen. The player is thrown off the zone. That is the first problem. And the second problem, the player can move out of the zone because it's trigger. And you will ask why. Because the player, there is it, it contains a rigid body component with a collider. So every object in Unity that holds the rigid body, it will be affected with the physics engine. And the physics engine acts when there is two collider, by pushing them away. So there is no way I can tweak between its trigger to on or off when entering the zone. So what I found this solution. I made this half circle. I will show you in Blender how I made it. So if I go to Blender, here in the layout you add a sphere, a UV sphere or ecosphere like this. I will move it here, like here. You go edit mode, face, you select the half part, you keep holding Alt, then you delete this part. There is a lot of method to delete or cut an object in Blender. In my way, I just made delete faces like here. So when you delete the faces, I will delete all the objects. I think I need to go to object mode. I think it's a collection. I see. So it's not ampersand. I will make it far away, so it then when you have this half circle, you go to inverse, normals, and you flip. So when you flip, you go here, and in normal we will show the vector in the middle of the faces, like here. So that, like you see, there is the faces, and you see why I flip the normals, because this object, if it's active in the scene, like here it's active, I will click and I will go to it. There is it. I will go, like you see, I can enter, but I can't go out because the faces and the normals are flipped. This is why I flipped the faces. And when you import the model in FBX form, it will not be visible because the faces is flipped, the normals. So like here, and the most important that when you have this, you got a mesh filter that hold all the vertices data. So with the mesh collider, you will have the desired form. And some will ask if I made convex. I didn't make convex because no need. But if you want to make a convex shape, you must be aware do not go out up 256 faces. So there is the setup. About the effect, there is it. You have the first parameter with an emission save, velocity over time, saves over lifetime, and you have a trails with renderer. There is the first, a duration of 5, loop always. There is the parameter if you want to repeat it, the emission like this, 10 over time. Then you have a shape, always a circle. It's a self-explanatory with an arc, a full circle with a mode ping pong. And the radius and radius thickness, there is this. The more you have a thickness, the more area your effects can be shown. There is the area thickness, you see it. After the save, velocity over time, I choose the orbital x on the xz axis, so you can go like this. Then size over a lifetime, and sample curve with a bump in the middle. And the most important is the renderer. Like you see, if I turn off the trails, there is no trail materials. If I turn it on, there is the trail material. And I use the default particle system that come with the Unity engine. It's not a very hard complex effect, it's a simple effect. Excellent. So there is the setup of the mechanism. And the most important I forgot is the UI. It's just a simple canvas with the override sorting, ticket, and the sort order to 4, so it can be rendered at top of all UI. And it's a good idea to divide your component UI in different canvas, so you don't need to render the root canvas, it will be a performance tax. So here a simple image with 3 text and accept button. So there is it. Now I go to the script. Here is a script. Always we are working with the UI, we import the Unity engine.ui with TM Pro. So the first, this method I just made it for the test purposes. I don't think I need it. Yes, I don't think I need it. First, the zone trigger variable. It contains 2 game objects, the sphere zone, the dome sphere, and the particle system, so we can have access to the all method of the particle system. Then the spawning, you have the prefab that you spawn, the spawn radius, the number of giants you want to be spawned, and the player can play against them. A bool, it will tell us if the spawning is happening. A zone canvas, it will hold the canvas, the parent canvas with the button. First, we make the dome sphere active to false, and we call the sphere collider. This sphere collider, we can get the component from the sphere zone. And why we got this component? So we can have the area of spawning of the enemy. So we check if the sphere collider is not null. We affect the spawn radius float variable, the radius of the collider, multiplied by the logic scale in x-axis. Else we tell the player that there is no sphere collider and we need to have one. And always in the start of the game, the spawning doesn't happen until the player enters the zone. And we add listener the method on accept button click. So that means you accept the quest and you start your war against the giant. Then we have the on trigger enter. It's the moment when the player enter the sphere collider, the big sphere, and we need to check if the object that enters the zone is the player. It's just a simple debug log that will ask is entered. We activate the dome sphere so that the player cannot leave. We activate the half sphere so player cannot move out or run. Then we have a sample if this spawning is false, we make it true and we call the variable. Why we made that? Because if we don't have a bool check, all the time the player is inside the trigger, the start coroutine will keep firing, and it will make us and it will cause thousands of giants to spawn. So always a system checking, so we can't fire the spawning indefinitely. Then we go to this method. It just shows us the parent canvas that holds all the UI elements. Like you see, this method is self-explanatory. It's a vector tree that gets us the get random position inside the sphere. We have this vector tree local variable that holds the position of the sphere zone. Then we have a vector tree random another local variable that takes the random inside unit sphere and multiply it by the spawn radius. This so we can keep the player in the same y axis in the same level. Then we return the sphere plus the random point. And this is what is inside this I enumerator. I forgot to show you what is this I enumerator. It makes the particle effect game object to true and we start playing. Like you see, if we made a dot, you have a lot of methods like emission, collision. Let's see another particle method. I don't see another method like wait like this particle system scanning mode. The important is we have a lot of method with the particle system. Then we wait a 2 seconds the moment the player read the quest. Then we fire a for loop. The for loop, it's delimited by the giant count or the enemy number we want to spawn. We get first the random position, then we pass it the instantiate, always a clone of the principal game object. So if we want to destroy it in the future, we don't destroy the mother object. Then always we wait 4 seconds, so we can't spawn the 20 in the same time. And we tell them after is spawning, after the for loop is ended, that the spawn is ended. And if we want to add another spawn system or spawn function, we can add it. Here is the method that is affected the button. It just tells us that we accept the game, we make the root canvas to false, and we start the coroutine. So the player can start the attack. So there is it. So there is it, a basic zone system. You can implement it through the Hypercasual game, and you can add further implementation. I think the Y value is a little bit higher. It makes the player spawn in the area and fall. But I think it's a good feel and look, and it will make the player feel the dread of the science. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Subscribe, comment, and add important a like, so the algorithm like my video and make it push it to another viewers. And if you want, you can download my game calculator G game for all the iPhone user and iPad. Sorry Samsung, I didn't implement it for the Google Play, but I will make it in the future. And have a good day.